All right, Tantor here. Due to popular demand, I'm going to do a preview of Georgia Tech Miami game for this Saturday. Normally, I do some film work on the upcoming Georgia Tech opponent. I don't do a preview of it because I'm using the information for my own investment purposes. So far, so good this season. I've had it working for me. Right now, I'm in Braves mode. I've got a future on the Braves winning the World Series that's going to pay out pretty nicely if the Bravos can seal the deal here. So definitely Atlanta homer and go Bravos. All right, so Georgia Tech. It's not a favorable. We're not fanboy. It's not a favorable approach going down to Miami. We have absolutely no idea what Georgia Tech team is going to travel to Miami. Is it going to be the team that actually wanted to play football in Winston-Salem against Wake? Or was it the team that we saw last Saturday that wanted to be someplace else rather than to play a game at 3:30 Saturday afternoon against Bowling Green? I'm still salty about that. It was just a disgusting display. So it's kind of hard to give these players that absolutely have no desire to play football for the Institute the benefit of a doubt. But we'll go in with Miami. All right. Miami, what stands out to me, quite frankly, is their quarterback and their three wide receivers. Van Dyke is fantastic. Now, granted, Miami hasn't played anybody with the exception of Texas A&M, and they beat them pretty handily. And they played a team on our level, Temple, and they did beat Temple. So I watched both of those games there. I didn't watch the two cupcake wins, but Temple, they crushed. Temple's about on our level talent-wise. Texas A&M, they beat Texas A&M, but Texas A&M exposed some things. But Van Dyke, the quarterback for Miami, is sensational. He's got a QBR rating of 92.3, and he was tremendous against A&M. He had 5 TD passes, and he is throwing to 3 guys that have a chance of playing on Sundays in a few years. We're going to see them because they are going to torch our kids. Young, George, and Restrepo. All 3 of them are just tremendous. If I worked in the Falcons general manager office, I would be watching this Miami team because I would take any of those 3 kids on the Falcons right this second. They can all play. I can't say enough good things about them, and I absolutely despise Miami, and saying good things about Miami just makes me ill. Next thing you know, I'll be saying good things about that UGA team up in Athens, and that shit's not going to happen either. All right, so we've established that Miami, their passing game is tremendous. They've got a good offensive line. They got running backs. They pass to set up the run. It's gonna be a long afternoon. If I was Miami, I'd pass until I don't have to anymore. And these guys, they can run, they can catch. 2 of them are big body receivers. 2 of them have huge speed. Another guy's a real good route runner. It's going to be ugly. Because the weakest spot on Georgia Tech's team is the secondary and the linebackers. And I just don't see Georgia Tech's secondary being able to cover anything with Miami's passing game at all, period. Miami's going to put up 50 points. No doubt about it. So let's just get it out of our heads of it not being a high-scoring affair. Miami's going to drop 50. It's whether Georgia Tech can score or not. Miami's defense, we'll flip it over there. They run a 3-4, but they blitz a lot. They come from all different angles. They'll send 3 sometimes, drop back in 8 in zone. They'll blitz off the corners. They'll blitz up the middle. It's a good concept that they've got going on there, and I really like it. Miami is aggressive. They're fast, physical, and they're incredibly violent. We will see if our offense can match the intensity level. because if they can't, Miami's going to come out there and they're going to smack them in the face. And if our kids can't punch back, can't counterpunch, it's going to be just one freaking ugly game, just like the Temple game was against Miami, where Miami beat them 40-something to 7. All right, that's what you'd be looking at, because Miami's going to come out there and just punch them in the mouth. They are very physical. They are weak on the back end, though. They do have one cornerback that's got 3 interceptions, but basically that's from playing zone defense and having quarterbacks run for their lives and just throwing up prayers. That's what they hope. They put a lot of pressure on the opposing quarterbacks, and I'm really worried about our offensive line. I actually like our offensive line. 12 months ago, one of the worst offensive lines in college football. They have made tremendous amount of improvements. They get better every week. Now, there are things that our Tech's offensive line does well, which is straight ahead power block, and they form a nice pocket with a quarterback that'll take 3 and 5 step drops. They don't pick up the blitz very well, and that's not a good matchup against Miami's blitzing. They don't pull well, and they don't block well out in space. So as long as we don't try to do any of that stupid crap with our offense, we can do it if we run a quick game, quick throws, quick slants. Get our good wide receivers, because we have our own set of good wide receivers. The strength of our team is our wide receivers. Our wide receivers, Singleton, Blaylock, if Lane can come back and play, Malik Rutherford, who I've always been high on. Those guys, get on their back and go. Let's throw. We're going to have to throw, because we're not running against that Miami defense. We really aren't. I mean, we might be able to power into them, but Miami's got that front seven. That front seven is superior to our line, our tight end, and our running backs. They really are. We might be able to catch them by surprise once or twice, but if we try to stretch it, Miami's too fast. They're too physical. They're going to nail us. We're going to have to throw the ball. Now, we take a look at Van Dyke with his 92.3 QBR. Haynes King has a 66 QBR. So if you want to compare the two there, even though Haynes threw for a lot more passing yards than Van Dyke, Van Dyke is an NFL arm strength talent, and he's got an outside chance to play on Sundays too. I think we need to throw. I think if we show up motivated to play, if we don't go running off scared, if Miami punches us in the face and we fall down, we start crying, and we just beg the coach to take us out of the game, and we all get on the bus, go back to the airport, and fly back to Atlanta, that could happen. We saw last Saturday that could definitely happen. But we could score on Miami. We just need to max protect. We need to get the ball out quick. We need to match our wide receivers up with the defensive backs on Miami, and we can throw on them. We can make something happen there. And it's going to be a high-scoring game. It should definitely be a high-scoring game. I'm definitely, Tech, they're not going to cover. So I'm looking at taking the over, because I know Miami's going to put up some points on this, because there's absolutely no way we can cover their receivers. They're just too good of athletes. So Miami's definitely going to put up 50. I think on the outside chance, as long as Key doesn't panic and start doing the stupid stuff about going for 4th down all the time, and just take your points, I think we can put up 20, have 70, and that way we cover the over-under. So that's how I'm looking at that. Miami's not perfect, but they have the talent to challenge Florida State and UNC at the top of the ACC. And don't be surprised if they're playing in the championship game for the ACC, because there's really only one weakness. But that one weakness in the secondary has to go against UNC and FSU's top talent outside. So that's not a good matchup for Miami, and that is their weakness. You got to attack them going through the air. So as long as you can do that, you can make something happen. But Miami's a really good team. I'd have to say they're probably the second, third. They're right there with UNC at the top. So, and FSU I have as number 1 in ACC. Anyway, I just hope the kids compete. I really do. Depends upon what Key does this week. I would do nothing but tackle drills all week long. I wouldn't try to execute any plays in practice. I would take the jerseys off the quarterbacks because we've got 2 that can play, probably 3 that can play. And so what? One gets hurt in practice. Somebody needs to get hurt in practice. Somebody needs to actually hit. We can't be playing 2-hand touch and flag football out there on Saturdays. So go out there, beat each other's brains out during the week, get nasty, and on Saturday want to hit somebody besides the guy that's your teammate, and go out there and really put one on Miami. That's their only chance with this one. Miami has superior talent, superior athletes, and we're going to have to show something this week. Is Key up for the job? 3 out of 4 games this season, he hasn't been. All right, we'll see what happens on Saturday, but that's my take on this one. Go for the over. Tantor out.